This is the Universal Consciousness Show again, like every Friday. And we welcome all of you to another hour of some of the stuff that is hard to find anywhere else. But here we are. And we have a wonderful guest with us today. And we are going to try to educate your mind, stretch your mind a little bit, and we'll see if we will be better at the end of this hour. My name is Aage, and I'm one of the hosts. And Diana, my co-host, is over in Germany. Are you there, Diana?
I am here. Hello, everyone.
Hi, hi. Yeah, and of course, first, for those of you that want to listen to this show again, you can go to where we archive the shows at www.universal-consciousness-show.com. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, on Twitter, and just about everywhere else out there where you can find things like this. So we will get on with it. And our guest today is LORILEI. I just learned how to pronounce her name. I'm so proud. LORILEI Potvin. She is from Canada, and she is a healer. She's a Reiki master and many other things. So maybe, Diana, you could also chime in here, maybe find out how it all started with her, and maybe have her tell her a little bit about herself, maybe.
Yes. Hello, Lorelei, and thank you so much for being with us today. Can you please tell us in a few words what was that brought you on the spiritual path, and how did it all begin, and what are you doing?
Oh, well, thank you very much, Diana and Augie, for having me here today. I'm very honored to be here. What started me, actually, I am a registered nurse. I hurt my back, but I'm actually a little bit about me. Besides being a nurse, I am a psychic medium. I'm also a medical intuitive, as Augie mentioned, also a crystal Reiki energy healer, spiritual teacher, and mentor. But where it started, I've always had a connection with spirit. Way back, I'm 53. I can remember back even at the age of 4 having connection with spirit. But I sort of kind of forgot it as I got older. But what happened was I hurt my back. I was a community visiting nurse, and somebody had covered a hole in their front steps, and I fell through it and shattered all the discs in my back about 20 years ago. I also have 2 children. My youngest son has severe autism. So as the story goes, we actually had quite a bit of paranormal activity in our home for almost the last 10 years. Our story's actually even been featured on Paranormal Survivor this season. But it started getting me to look for a solution. I mean, my husband had been thrown 15 feet. There were burns, scratches, quite a bit. It's a long story. But what led me to it was what really resonated was raising my vibration, my vibrational energy. I also have quite a science background, and a lot of it made sense to me scientifically. And that's kind of what opened the doorway to why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
Wow, that gets interesting. You said your paranormal activity in the house. Let's spend a couple of minutes on that and maybe explain what kind of activity did you have there?
Well, how it all started was with my first husband. His parents have always owned this home. We moved here when my oldest son was 15 months old, and he's 23. What happened was, ever since I've lived in this house, and I've always been fairly intuitive, I wasn't quite aware of the gifts that I am now. Never really felt like this home was my own. In one corner in particular, I wasn't fearful of it, but it always made me feel very uncomfortable. So we lived here for about 10 years, kind of had really a lot of things, things would go missing, a lot of illness, a lot of things just didn't go well financially. And around the time we ended up having a divorce, I'm now with my common law partner I've been with for about 10 years now. What happened was and it was just before, right around the time that we went through, before we separated with my first husband and being with my current partner now, we started finding things missing. Like we have, where you keep your keys always at the front door in the same spot. And, you'd bend down to put your shoes on, stand up to grab the keys would be gone. And you tear the house apart, they were gone. You're thinking, oh, geez, am I getting that forgetful? Like, I know they were just there. So you'd have to cancel what you were going to do. And then say you'd go by to pick up the newspaper or the mail an hour later. There's your keys sitting exactly where they were supposed to be. But also what happened at this time, because I wasn't able to return to nursing, I still have my license and I stay up on top of medicine and research and things like that. I'm very creative. So I make handmade jewelry and pet accessories, a whole bunch of stuff. And I remember commenting to my first husband when all this activity was sort of going on, saying, if I'd been out, people wanted to carry my merchandise, but they didn't want any commission for it. And I remember saying to him, I was absolutely amazed by this. Well, I had a dream probably a couple nights later. So this is about 10 years ago. And I remember it like I had it probably half an hour ago. And as the dream goes, there was a man, I have a tree in my front yard, sitting in that tree. And I found myself outside in this dream, and he introduced himself. He identified himself as a demon, told me his name, told me the spelling of his name. Very immaculately dressed, looked very human, except slick-backed, black hair, same thing, matching goatee and beard, all very neatly trimmed. But his face was this sickly alabaster white color. His eyes were going from completely black to flame. And he called me by name and said, hello, LORILEI. He said, do you see how well that little business of yours is going? And he said, well, that's nothing. I can offer you fame. I can offer you wealth, anything your heart desires. All you have to do is agree to follow me. And in my dream, and I'll be very politically correct, I didn't quite say it this way in my dream. I said, absolutely not. Leave now. And he laughed at me in the dream and said, oh, no. I'm not going away that quickly. And he said, anytime you see a crow or a raven, and you will know exactly who it is. That is when the activity in my house ramped up to 1,000.
Wow.
Things were flying off the wall. I have a little curio cabinet where I'm sitting that held all my treasures from when I was a child that were irreplaceable. It's only probably, we're lucky if it's about 1/2 meter by a meter. Maybe weighs about 1 kilogram, 1.5 kilograms, that had hung there for 12 years. It was a Monday night. And it was about 11:30 at night. And again, this is 10 years ago, and I remember it quite clearly. We heard a crash, and our bedroom's in the lower floor, and the children's bedroom is upstairs. And we came running up the stairs, and my oldest son met us there saying, what the heck was that? Well, we found the curio cabinet, probably, I'm trying to convert from meters to imperial here. It was probably about 3.5 meters, because it's an open concept dining room, living room, on the floor, smashed in the living room. But the hooks are still on the wall. You can't bend the hooks with your finger. And as we looked, there was a wall, probably maybe about 1/3 of a meter, if we're lucky, to the left. It appeared that it had hit the wall to the left, and then the phone cord for our portable phone, our caller ID, and our answering machine, the cords looked like they had been severed with an X-Acto knife or a surgical scalpel. So also, the hooks are still intact on the back of the cabinet. That's when we knew we really had a problem.
Yeah, you
So,
sure did.
like I said, my husband's been thrown 15 feet clear across the kitchen, and he has a very logical mind, and he's not the type to just jump to this is this is just paranormal activity, everything we've been through. I always describe us as I'm a little more to the left with love and light. He's a little bit more with the practical mind, and we meet in the middle. He has to debunk it in every way. For example, when he went flying across the kitchen 15 feet, he grabbed his electrical equipment and checked to make sure there was no shorts in the wire, anything we could rule out. But I mean, there's quite a bit to this story. He almost actually died one night because of what, I don't know if something attacked him or what happened, but it's quite a story.
Yeah, but how did he try to debunk that one?
With the fridge, you mean?
No, when he was thrown 15 feet.
Yeah, with the fridge. So what had happened was it was about 3:00 in the morning, and he was up and he was making a snack to eat. You know, some people get up in the middle of the night. He was bending down in front of the fridge, and he was actually looking for some mustard. He was making a sandwich. All of a sudden, as he was bent down, went flying across the kitchen, hit the cupboard, and he thought, oh my gosh, did I just get like electrocuted? Like, did something short out? What happened? And the really strange thing was, and he says he did not see the mustard fly out of the fridge or anything. He just went flying. As he stood up and his arm was all cut, the mustard that he had been looking for was clear behind him on the counter. So he didn't know what had happened. So like I said, he's built houses before. He's got a little bit of electrical knowledge and stuff. So he had a current checker. He checked all the cords. He pulled the fridge out. He checked everything to make sure, like, is there not something else going on with the fridge? So again, I don't have a lot of electrical knowledge, so I'm sort of paraphrasing as he would be better to speak to with exactly what he checked. But we had no other explanation for why this would have happened. He's also been in the kitchen 3:00. Again, he's kind of a night hawk, been up making a sandwich. And I was downstairs at the time. We were watching a movie. It was a weekend. It was about 3 a.m. again. And he came running down the stairs and he said, did you just run upstairs and smack me twice on the shoulder really hard? And I said, what? I said, no, I've never hit anybody. I said, I've never hit you. Why would I? I haven't left. Why would I hit you? As his back was turned, making the sandwich on the countertop, he got smacked across the left shoulder twice, very, very firmly, quite hard. He actually had a bit of a mark left. He said as he spun around, he could see the exact image of me, my hair, what I was wearing. And he said this image of whatever it was went around the corner and disappeared. Like I said, we have no explanation for any of what's gone on.
Well, that's a tough one.
Well, the worst part was, Aage and Diana, and there's actually 4 entities. I've been taking pictures. There's other people that have experienced the activity in our home, as well as Jason Bland, who's also a host in Studio A on Sunday nights. I used to call into his show quite a bit, and I would call on video, Skype, and there's quite a bit of evidence on his YouTube videos when I've called in. You can see things in the background. You can hear things coming through when I call. But before this is probably about the time I met Jason. I'd found him on the internet, and I guess I hadn't slept in about 6 days, and my husband had actually put a security camera into the room with the most activity. And that's another thing to note. Our security cameras have stopped recording. We can see everything that's going on with them. We've had the console brought in to where we bought it from. They can find nothing wrong with it. We've had them come here to check the installation, and there's nothing wrong with the cameras. They don't know why it's not recording. I've had that happen with other appliances and things like that. I mean, it's quite a story. But what I was going to say was apparently, and I don't remember this, and it's the only time I don't remember it, I hadn't slept in about 6 days. And we had quite a lot more going on. Like, it was sort of every avenue, financially, illness-wise, really lowering your vibrational energy. Anyways, I remember my husband being quite angry with me and asking me to come out of the room, in the laundry room, because we both smoke, and we smoke in that room. There's good ventilation. And I'm a very even-tempered person. I remember feeling quite angry with him, saying, "Don't you talk to me like that." And he said, "Lor," because that's what everybody calls me because my name is so long and hard to
Yeah.
pronounce. He said, "Excuse me, please just come out of here and we'll talk about it." As I left the room, all of a sudden I didn't have that angry feeling anymore. And he explained to me that had been the third time he had tried to get me to leave that room. He said he could see me on the security camera sitting there. It looked like a puppet, like a marionette. My arms were moving up and down, he said. And then he said I stood up and I was laughing. And apparently it looked like I was talking. So I was laying in the bed next to him. He had fallen asleep after this had happened, pondering, why did this happen? Why do I not remember this happening? When all of a sudden he started to, all I can describe it like was seizure. So I started shaking him, and his name is Dell, and shaking him and saying, Dell, wake up. It was his voice, but it didn't sound like him. It literally sounded like, I'm okay. I'm all right. And I mean, he's got quite a deep voice. So I hopped over off the bed. I sleep sort of by the wall, was shaking him and shaking him to wake up because he was choking. And again, I mean, I haven't seen everything, but he had, all I can describe was this black goo. He was choking, like literally turning blue and choking coming out of his mouth. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know. I mean, knowing as a nurse, I literally kept thinking, my God, if I was in a hospital, I would have used suction. All of a sudden, he did come to because I mean, even though he was there, he wasn't, I mean, he was choking. And he started to vomit and cleared it. He describes it as he felt like his chest when he came to, like he understood and started vomiting up what he was choking on. It was coming out of his mouth, though. I remember having Kleenex and tons of it, pulling it out. So we've had quite the story.
Oh man, oh man. So let me ask you, do you see anything or feel anything when you meditate?
No, because I was actually advised not to meditate because I wouldn't know what I was going to be connecting with.
Oh,
But I'm quite aware of who I connect with now, and
yeah.
set the intention who I'm connecting with, which is a higher power, and I work quite closely with angels and my guides and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, let's. This was quite a story, boy. Oh boy, I wish it wasn't me. I let's go in a different direction. You do also some healing work.
I do. But the reason why I do all this, Augie, is because very quickly, after what we've been through, the only thing that has helped this and made it so much better, and it made sense to me, recognizing, I believe, that one of the laws of our universe is like attracts like. So
Yeah.
raising your vibrational energy, connecting with what I believe I was meant to be doing, has what's really improved it. There's barely any activity anymore. Depending on who I speak to, I mean, it's still here. I know it's here. But to me, it made sense, and my family, that by raising our vibration, by sticking together as a family through love and light, filling this house with a lot of joy, laughter,
Yeah.
it's not able to connect. But with the healing work, that came hand in hand with working towards exactly what I just talked about.
Yeah. So when also being a medical intuitive, for people that may have something in the body they don't know what is. Can you
That's usually who comes to me.
Yeah, can you still see something or?
Yes, I can do it distance-wise. And the only way I can describe it, if you've ever seen the movie Star Wars, I believe it's Star Wars, Princess Leia, I believe it was a hologram that the R2D2 droid was projecting. That's what I'm able to be. I'm not an R2D2 droid, but that's how I'm able to visualize somebody. And then by focusing on their energy, I would never do it without their permission, obviously. But if they were working with me and weren't able to what was going on with them, is to be able to do a scan from head to toe, as I focus deeper and go even inside the body, see where there may be any blockages. I may get a color, I may get a sense of heaviness. Sometimes I can feel the pain that the person's feeling. And again, I'm not allowed to diagnose as a registered nurse, nor do I diagnose as a medical intuitive. But if I find something, and it also involves a bit of talking with the person, finding out what's going on in their life, because I also believe the human body is completely capable of healing itself.
Yeah.
But through whether it may be something emotional, because our emotions are powerful, I believe, or something energetic or spiritual, if that, we don't clear that, I believe our bodies are meant to basically run energy. And so when we don't clear some of these things going on in our life or process them, the longer it stays, I believe that that's a lot of the cause sometimes for manifestation of illness.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, it all starts in the mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've
But
had many conversations.
do you
Go ahead,
think
Diane.
that the lack of self-love cause us diseases, and on
Abs-
contrary, can self-love heal us?
Absolutely. I believe that's part of the process, but I also believe that, again, with the law, and I do believe this with the laws of the universe, that although, or even physics, that energy can't really be made or destroyed, but it can be transferred or, moved around, that's kind of how I work with this self-love. Also, getting to the root of what the issue is, I also work with our energy centers or chakras. And I also believe that every chakra can also be related to physical parts of our body as well as emotional. So usually, like I said, that's the part that we get down to, sort of the meat and potatoes, if you will, talking to the person, what's going on in your life. If they're coming to me, they've usually gone to every medical practitioner out there and, no answers. So then we start looking again at the emotional. But with self-love, yes, that would be part of what will definitely help. But I also believe with working with releasing or working with the emotions, especially that are involved, that may be manifesting this illness or
Mm.
So
pain.
that means that being a people pleaser, a so-called people pleaser,
Hmm.
doesn't work too good in our body, right? When we ignore ourselves to please the others, so we don't have a lot of self-love, to speak like that. This will always end in a disease.
Well, I don't believe that it'll always end up in a disease. And again, people pleaser is a good thing because if we're not, say, using our throat chakra or our voice, and we are a people pleaser, or we're one that doesn't like confrontation. So instead of really sitting with that emotion and processing, say, anger, and there's healthy ways to do that, but instead we literally, and I'm using air quotes here, swallow it down. We don't deal with it. We kind of just stuff it down. And even though we may be really angry, say somebody said something to us, and we don't deal with that. And if we're the type of person, say, that doesn't like to deal with a lot of emotions, yes, I believe that part can definitely cause issues with disease. The other part is too, and this is something I really teach, that I truly believe we need to fill up our own cups first before we can give to others. And when I say cup, I mean nurturing ourselves, giving ourselves love. And a lot of people think that comes from an ego-based perspective. But we're not talking about ego here. We're talking about truly learning to love ourselves, to recognize who we are, the gifts that we have. And some of the things I do teach also is that I find so many people, and I've been guilty of it myself throughout my life, that we say the worst things inside our heads to ourselves that most people would never say to another human being.
Yeah, that happens.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and what do you do anything special to stay charged and healthy yourself?
I will be very honest with you. Part of the reason why I believe in this, and I'm still a work in progress, and I have no shame in admitting that, I'm a chronic pain sufferer, and I am one of those people that never liked confrontation. I was a person, even before all this paranormal, stuff went on, very, very ill at a very young age. And again, I tried many things. I tried naturopaths, homeopathics, I tried, regular medicine. And it was actually a naturopathic doctor I worked with in my early 30s that really introduced me to this process. She actually recommended a book by Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. And that's sort of where it started opening up these potentialities to me, because again, coming from the Western based model of, we give a pill or we have a treatment rather than possibly looking at other avenues that may cause disease.
Yeah.
So for myself, meditation, again, connecting with my guides daily, with angels, I also find helping other people, because I also believe in the mirror principle that, again, like attracts like. So I find that many of the people that I help, they may be going through either something I've already been through or something very similar. And though the treatment process is not about myself, I've also found that by working with a person that's going through something similar, that I learn a lot about myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And also, we were talking earlier that maybe if you want to, we could take some calls in the second half of the show. We have not taken calls before, actually, because there's so much to talk about. So maybe we could open it up for that. That could be kind of
Perfect.
fun thing to do, and see if there's anybody out there that's got a challenge in their life that they may want to see if there's some help for.
Mhm. I do that, and I will tell your listeners, and I do go live on my Facebook page as well, just so people can see how I work. Because, like I said, I'm also a medium. I also find a lot of people right now are at a crossroads, sort of in their life, or not really sure where to turn. Tend to pay a lot of attention to the media and what's going on out there. So when it comes to physical healing, that's quite a little longer process than just connecting with spirit, but lots of times I can get information with that. Just to get through the whole in-depth process, I will be very honest with you. When I book first initial assessment with somebody, it's at least an hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
because we go through an interview process. By the time I do, as I call my mentor had taught me, we draw a little gingerbread man, we go through all the chakras, and then I also work quite closely. I'm a firm believer in Ina Segal's work. She has a wonderful book out there that anybody can use, and it is The Secret Language of Your Body. And she actually goes through all the parts of the body, and she deals very specifically with the emotions that may be associated with any dis-ease rather than disease. But that's basically what we're looking at here when we have illness in the body. And she actually uses color and the power of the mind to do a lot of healing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for those of you that is listening and like to call in the second half of the hour here, you can call this phone number and grab a pen real fast, because I'll tell you slow. It is 202-559-7943. It's 202-559-7943 to call in and talk to LORILEI. And we are at the bottom of the hour, so let's go and take a 5-minute, 4-minute, 3-minute, however many minutes break we end up with. Depends on how many bills has to be paid this month. And and we will be back shortly with the Universal Consciousness Show and talking with
Yes.
LORILEI Potvin.
This is Pat.
Aage, you've just got a
Okay.
call. Aage,
Yeah.
you've just got a
I'm
call.
Pat.
Pat is on the line.
Oh, it's a call.
Are we going to break?
Aage,
We have a call.
we have a call.
Okay.
He just came through. So do you want to take a break, or do you want to go ahead and answer the call?
Yeah, if we could, up to you. If you want to take the break now, that'll be good.
All right.
Okay.
Caller can wait.
Caller, can you hold for a few moments while we have a break, and then we can come back and
Sure.
no
That's
problem.
fine. I'll just hang on.
You're no problems.
Sure.
You're on the line, so that's fine. The LNM Radio Network has a subscriber chat room for you, the listener. Come interact with your fellow listeners and like-minded people and talk about the shows in a safe environment, from the paranormal to conspiracies and anything else LNM related. All you have to do is go to the LNMRadioNetwork.com website and click the official chat page button at the top of the homepage. From there, you can sign up for the cost of a cup of coffee. If you're a late-nighter subscriber, the chat room is absolutely free with your subscription. Terms and conditions apply. Then click connect and you'll be able to log into the chat room. We're here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the chat room is both for Studio A and Studio B. We look forward to seeing you there.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
This is Jason Bland, host of Paranormal Soup on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network, and we're streaming as a webcast to our Facebook page, Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, where we have guests who will blow your mind, live ghost box sessions where you can call in to see if the spirits will talk to you, and the World Wide Web of Weird with the latest in paranormal news and evidence. We're bringing the weird every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern on the LNM Radio Network.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600 at laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
How to know if you should reach out to a friend. Your friend might be worried, sad,
grumpy, angry,
stressed, weird, rebellious,
anxious,
antisocial,
lonely,
sleeping less,
sleeping more,
eating less,
eating more. Look, there are a lot of things to watch out for, but you know
this at laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
how to know if you should reach out to a friend. Your friend might be worried, sad,
grumpy, angry,
stressed, weird, rebellious,
anxious, antisocial,
lonely,
sleeping less,
sleeping more,
eating less,
eating more. Look, there are a lot of things to watch out for, but you know your friend best. So if they're not acting themselves, why not say something?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Won't you stay and play with me? I'm having a tea party. lovely day to have a tea party. I'm having a tea party. I'm having a tea party. Won't you stay and play with me?
Some knowledge belongs to us and us alone. The way our girlfriends walk, the way they talk, the way they touch their hair. We hold details that only a sister can know about her girls. But what about our other girls? The ones that we carry with us every day. Can we describe them when everything's right? Can we feel when something's wrong? Our bond with our sister girls gives life. But knowing your breasts can save it. You don't know my... Go to knowyourgirls.org for the facts you need on breast health. That's knowyourgirls.org. Brought to you by Susan G. Coleman and the Ad Council.
LNM Radio Network, shining the light of truth 24 hours a day.
Hello?
Hello. We are back to the Universal Consciousness Show, and we are talking with LORILEI Potvin from Canada. And we said before the break that we were going to take some calls, and because she's in medical intuitive and a healer. I think we have Pat on the line here, and you have a question for the guest, Pat?
Yes, I do. I was thinking about what you suggested, and I do. The number of times I used to ride horses a lot.
Okay.
And I had fallen off horses, and yes. But that happened a few years ago, but it's not real recent. But it's just recently I've had the memory loss.
Okay, now this is going to be a little bit different way of thinking. Okay, but just let me tune into your energy for a minute here. And I'm just focusing on that. I'm not doing a whole body scan here.
Okay.
But obviously, because that's why I asked you if you'd hit your head, and obviously, being a nurse, I would know that. But the fact about the horses, there is a phenomena out there, and again, this is not a diagnosis. This is something you can possibly look up or speak to your doctor about. Is multiple concussion syndrome that can cause things. Yes, definitely. Again, energetically wise, and I'm going through this right now. What I do is I work with color. I also work with various angels. What I'm seeing, and this is a little bit of an explanation. This is why I sort of explained that it takes a little bit longer. But have you heard of the subconscious mind before? We have our regular mind. Okay.
Sure.
Well, what we can do is we can actually activate the subconscious mind to work to heal, help with the healing. Yes, we can. It's a lot of it's about belief. A lot of it is about changing the way we think. Because for you, as I'm focusing on that area, and again, this isn't a diagnosis, but I'm seeing almost like some scar tissue. And again, your doctor's not going to tell you that. This is just what I'm seeing distance-wise. Some of the things, and I'd mentioned a lady that you can work with, but there's emotions involved with that. And part of it is being able to let go of certain things in your life. And when we hang on to things, so say you've had some grief in your life, or you've had some difficult things going on that maybe you haven't let go of yet. that may be
Right.
something you may want to work with that release.
Okay.
But I keep, and I'm going quite quickly here because it takes quite a lot of, I guess this is sort of a longer process. But part of working with the subconscious mind, one of the things you can do, and again, this is about belief as well, but you can actually, before you go to bed at night, in the morning, you can even do it numerous times during the day. You don't even have to say it out loud, but it may be more helpful with the short-term memory loss to write this down. But
yes,
you can talk to your memory if you want. That's that part of your brain. Okay, you can talk to that and activate it. The subconscious. Okay, so if you want to use the lady that I work with, a lot of her work with, her name is spelled INNASEGAL. I used to say her name Ina, but it's actually Ina. But what she works with is color, and exactly what I'm going to share with you. One of the things is, so she calls it divine healing intelligence, but really it's just your subconscious. So you can name it whatever you want, as long as you're setting that intention. You could name it Pat Jr. if you wanted to, and I'm not being facetious here. I'm just saying we don't.
Oh, that's okay. Sure.
We don't need to use these big words, but especially I find it's really helpful before we go to bed because we do a lot of healing at nighttime. That's why we sleep. So you can set that intention before you're going to sleep. And you're going to set the intention. Again, you don't have to talk out loud. You can just think this, that I'm going to set the intention to start the healing process in the area of my brain where I'm having issues with short-term memory loss. Now, there's colors that you can focus on. One of the really powerful colors for healing is green. Like an emerald green color. So you can even, before you go to bed, imagine your head is surrounded in a bubble of emerald green light if you want. And one of the things that helps is, before we go to bed, thinking, I'm setting the intention to have some healing going on with my memory as I sleep.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot more I do with this process. Like I would actually do a scan of your body with chakras. But what I would like to do for you, if that's okay, Aage and Diana, is I'd like to pull a card that I have for you from my healing decks here. I also have healing card decks.
Yeah.
This deck is actually called Healing Yourself Reading Cards. And how this works, Pat, is when I've connected with your energy, and like I said, I also work with angels and my guides, is I set the intention that the card that comes through here will be the message from your angels and guides that should be able to give you a little bit of advice with some of this healing as well.
Okay.
So,
sure.
I'm just shuffling. I shuffle until I hear stop. So just give me a minute here. And again, this is very oversimplified with the healing process that we're talking about because, again, like I'd mentioned with Aage and Diane, that it takes my first appointment usually with somebody is at least an hour and a half to we go over much more than this. So now I know why I was seeing what I was seeing. So what the card that I pulled for you, Pat, is the word entrapment. And remember when I had said to you, I was almost seeing like tough, like almost like scar tissue. And if you think about scars, right, they're kind of tougher. I mean, even if they gather, they heal up around something, it doesn't function as much. It's almost like it entraps wherever the scar is. This is interesting. This card came up. So just give me a minute here. Some of the things that are here for you, I'm going to read this message to you. It said you're letting too many things in your environment control your life. I believe also that's why when I first started to do this scan, I was hearing for you to be letting go of some things.
Yeah.
The rest of the message says, I've drawn this card for you because it's time for a shift in personal power. You are encouraged to take responsibility for your life and choose new ways of thinking that create change. The reality is that for you to make the changes you want, need, and desire, You need a system, and it says daily discipline and motivation. As long, and it says you may blame outside influences for any circumstances in your life. And I also believe, when I was talking to you originally, Pat, about letting go of anything maybe possibly negative that has gone on in your life, like sort of working whatever works best for you, whether some people use a counselor, some people use meditation, but really working with those past life experiences that might not have been so positive. So back to this, it says, excuse me, as we may blame outside influences for any circumstances in life, you basically feel powerless. It's the government. It could be an abusive background. It could be the interest rates. It could be the bank's fault. So what this message is basically saying is really taking a look at your life. The last part of this says this, the system that many ultra successful people use is they read books every day, listen to audios, go to as many seminars as they can, practice recognizing achievements, and form relationships with like-minded people. Now, what that meant, again, this is sort of a general message. I mean, it's not individualized. It's from a card deck here. There's more to it. I don't want to take up too much time, but this even goes into looking at parts of your diet, giving you things to work on with yourself as well. But I think this is really involving a lot of self-reflection, self-introspection as well. But the main thing to take from this, as I said, is if you're able to, surround your head before you go to sleep, even before you get up in the morning, if you've got a few minutes, and use that practice to really envision, because our minds are powerful. That's why I love this show that Aage does with Diane, because our minds are the most powerful thing. They really, really are. And it's all about intention, about setting that healing intention. And by using color, it's almost like a visual for yourself rather than just trying to talk yourself kind of into it. That's something else. I mean, that would be another show, but really setting that intention and seeing how that goes. Now, does that help you out at all, love?
Oh, yes, it was right on the money. It was exactly stuff that's bothering me. You're right.
Okay.
That's absolutely true.
Well, you know what? I'm really glad. Like I said, this is kind of a quick reading. I tend to talk a lot too. So like I said, it's a lot more in depth if I was working with you, but that's just sort of a quick little bit of advice that you could start that process with. I really want to thank you so much for calling in, and thank you, Aage and Diana, for letting me be able to speak with Pat today.
Oh, thank you very much. You have a wonderful day, okay?
You too, and thank you so much, Pat. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Are we still there?
Yes, hello.
Hello. I didn't know I couldn't hear anything.
Do we have another caller from New York?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there. Thank you for taking my call. My name is Daisy. How are you?
I'm fine, Daisy. How are you? What a pleasure to talk to you.
You as well. I'm very excited that you're taking calls. I saw the information that was going to be on the show today, and I was eager to listen in, and I'm excited that you're able to take the call, so thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure, too. And I got to thank Aage and Diana for having me today. Thank you.
Sure. I was calling to see if you're able to tune in and see if there's any healing necessary or if there's adjustments that I could do with my physicality to see if things come up.
Okay. Give me a minute. Excuse me. Sure. I'm going to tune in to you. It's going to take me a minute here, so... One of the things I'm hearing, this isn't physical but emotional, is with the heart. Just let me go over I just have to picture you here. So usually I see a picture of somebody, so it helps me a little bit better to focus on who they are. So I'm just going to try and focus on you energetically.
Sure.
I don't know if you have something going on with your neck and your back. I'm picking up. Even if you don't, that could be something energetic. something to do also, don't know, and again, I don't diagnose, but something with the possibly your bowel or stomach, and that doesn't mean that there's an issue there. I'm just getting not something serious, but almost like energetically, like hanging on to a lot of things, not being able to process them, not being able to release them.
Okay.
Does any of that resonate with you, love?
All three, yes.
Okay. Thank you, because I'll really tell you, I'm okay with connecting with people, but usually what I do with them, because sometimes I will do like mediumship readings and stuff, I usually get the person to speak for about 30 minutes, but I do work with your guides and my guides, and I have one in particular that's quite insistent of my own, so they just keep repeating. I'm going to tell you, I've still got my eyes closed focusing on you. I'm almost getting, I just keep getting this whole feeling energetically, really hanging on to things, having a lot of fear about speaking up, using your voice, letting people know. And again, please understand what I'm sharing with you, my love. None of this is with any judgment whatsoever. Okay?
Sure.
This is all said with love, and this is all just about information. But what this I'm hearing is that a lot of this again is hanging on to a lot of stuff, in the way that when you walk away saying, oh, I wish I would have said this, or I should have said that, or, feeling I keep hearing something about work, possibly maybe really insecure about what's going on at work, things like that. Sorry, just give me a minute here. All I keep hearing for you, my love, is that meditation will really, really help. Also, really nurturing yourself, looking into some of the things, some of the gifts and talents that you have that you really enjoy, because I'm also hearing that you're really taking care of everybody else. You're a real nurturer. You want to make sure everybody's okay, but you're the last person to and it's just your nature, your very loving, caring, nurturing nature. But one of the analogies I love to tell people about is when we're sitting on an airplane and we hear the flight attendant say, if you're sitting with a small child or somebody that has physical, say, disabilities or is unable to, in the event that the oxygen mask comes down, it's really necessary to put your own oxygen mask on before we assist others. So the reason why I'm giving you this analogy is there's nothing wrong with being a giver, being a nurturer. But even with the fact that, say, you have a cup and you keep sharing some of the liquid with everybody else, after a while, we don't have any more liquid to give. This is what your guides are wanting you to know. So by nurturing yourself, loving yourself, even if you're not sure even what you enjoy, I'm hearing from your guides, go back to the things that you used to enjoy to do as a small child. It's things like this, but it's all about loving yourself. Also hearing the color pink would be really, really important for you. And again, that's something I love. And actually, I'm gonna attribute this to Aage as well. He shared, when we surround ourselves in light before we go to bed. This is something he shared with me not too long ago, and I thought it was such a beautiful idea about setting the intention of healing this, of starting to release a lot of this. But the color pink is especially associated with love. So surrounding yourself it doesn't have to be a bubble of love. You can just imagine it around yourself before you fall asleep at night, because that's when we do a lot of physical, mental, even a little bit of emotional release while we're sleeping. But surrounding yourself in that bubble of love, it could be a blanket. I know somebody that pictures angel wings. You can use whatever you like that makes you feel really safe, secure, and loved. And set that intention before you go to bed that you're going to be able to release some of this, because that's part of what's going to be able to help you heal by learning to, again, nurture with that self-love. And I know Diana had brought that up earlier in the program, and it is really important, especially if we're the type of person that is a real giver or nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
it makes a lot of sense to me, because I'm a therapist and I help a lot of clients and patients, and I guess the insecurity that's coming up is because I'm in transition and I'm starting my own practice, and I just want to be sure that it's going to work and I could leave my full time and be able to sustain and that stuff.
Were you going to say something, Aage?
Yeah, I just got notified we can run over, so don't feel any time constraint. Just pull cards or anything you want here for her.
Okay, well, you know what, hun? I really like that you shared that with me, if that's okay. And thank you so much. Thank you, Katie. That's our producer, too. So that was another thing, too, that comes up a lot in our life is fear. And of course it's fear, right? It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of the change, of anything change. We as human beings, many of us, myself, especially when I was younger, now I welcome change because I know that without change, we can't grow. You just can't reach your potential without change. We just kind of stay stagnant, right? And part of this, and I'm a real believer in this, I really, really am, is believing in the intention that you're setting for yourself. So command yourself, go for it. I mean, if this is something you're setting up for yourself, that you're going off in your own direction, setting up your own practice, set that intention. Because I'm a true believer in what we believe or perceive, that's what comes to us. I mean, we can even get into the talk of the law of attraction, but it's true. And, if you ever heard the saying, careful what you ask for or careful what you wish for, it might just happen. It's kind of almost like that analogy. Because when we focus on, oh, am I going to be successful? Oh, what if I can't make enough money? What if I can't pay the bills? What if I can't? Things like focusing on, and this is something else I also teach a lot of, is when I say the word now, that word's already in the past. We can't change the past. We can learn from the past. We can learn from any mistakes from the past. But we also don't know the future. The future really hasn't been written yet, right? So all we really have is now. So focusing on what's going on in your day to day, in that moment, being present with that, the practice of gratitude, so important. I'm a true believer that we're in a manifestation type of existence right here on Earth. So, what we focus on brings more of. So we're grateful. And a lot of people, and this is generalities, they'll say, well, I don't have anything to be grateful or thankful for. Did you wake up this morning? Were you able to make a cup of coffee? Were you able to get to work okay? And even if you weren't, I also am a true believer, everybody's had that morning. Some people even call it waking up on the wrong side of the bed. You wake up late, you're rushing, you stub your toe, your foot hurts, and, say whatever, your morning's not going well. Well, we can always make that choice to just have a breath, stop, and reset, right? Or we can choose that and I've heard people say it, that, oh, great, I've had a morning like this, the whole day is going to be that way. Well, I really believe you've set yourself up for that kind of day versus say and I'm not saying you, I'm saying the person, people in general, versus, you know what? Yep, the morning wasn't a great start. Let's stop. Let's relax. Even if it takes 30 seconds for a minute, take a couple deep breaths in through our nose, hold it, release out, and reset. And yeah, you know what? The morning didn't go so great. I'm going to go on with my day. I'm going to set the intention. I'm going to have a great day. And I don't think that that's being foolish, or some people have had challenged me saying, well, I think that you're just sticking your head in the sand. Well, we're not really. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is it's the same thing with your business, right? You're an intelligent person. You're a therapist. You've got clients. I mean, you must, and the fact is you've gotten that inspiration to head out on your own. So by looking at what you've achieved, looking at the client base you've set, you sound like a very intelligent person to me, looking at all the avenues to make sure that your business is a success as well. Does that resonate with you, love?
It does, because it's something I've been thinking about, and then finally I started. And
good for you. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Thank you. It does feel good. But the other information was also helpful too about, releasing and not holding on to things.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad you called in. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, and remember now, going into business for yourself, it's kind of like a minefield out there. So follow somebody that's got bigger shoes than you have. What I meant by that is that there are other people that have done this successfully before. Look at what they're doing. And ask yourself also one question that I used to do in my business counselings, and that is that if money and time was no object whatsoever, how would you do it? So set your goals high because you just might reach them.
Yes, thank you.
Auggie's the man to talk about it, believe me.
I appreciate it. And was there any messages from my own guides in addition to yours as well?
Well, it wasn't just my guides that were working, actually. The information that when I connect with you, I probably didn't explain that probably as clearly as I should have. What I do is, I don't say it out loud, but I set the intention to work with your guides, your whole spiritual team. I always say, even people that don't believe in angels and spirit guides and things like that, they believe in you. So that's who I was connecting with. That was from your guides. Those messages were from your guides. So I kind of have, it's kind of like a partnership, if you will. When I connect with your energy, I ask your guides, I ask your whole team to come through. They work with my team, and that's how I get the information. So all that information was from your guides. It was about you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I will continue to listen in online. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend. Sorry, Aage, go ahead.
One last thing I'll for you that is a book that's been very helpful to people going into business. The book is Universal Success Principles and How Billionaires Think. If you Google that book, you'll find it. And get your hands on it. I think it creates a lot of the principles that you can formulate in your mind, and I think it will help you.
I appreciate it, Aage. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Aage, I was hoping you were going to say that about the book. That's why I didn't bring it up. I was hoping you were. I knew you were.
Well, I think it'll help because it helped a lot of people.
Yeah, well, it's helping me. I consider you one of my mentors, even I've just met you. I will share that with our listeners. Every time I talk to Aage, and it's been such a pleasure to meet Diana for the first time, but I literally have a notebook with Aage when I talk to him. He's full of so much knowledge.
Yes, I agree. I also used to know Aage through his book, through the other book that he wrote. Yes, and after I read the book twice, I contacted him, and then I landed in this show.
Oh, beautiful.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it doesn't look like we have any other callers standing by here, so we could call it quits for now. And then thank you very much, LORILEI, for being with us. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure and my honor. Thank you, both of you. I really appreciate it.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we will be back next week again with another show. And then, of course, we got Spookathon coming up. Go to our websites and go to YouTube and wherever and have a look at that. It's going to be so much fun. It almost should be illegal.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Have a great weekend.
You too.